children, if they please come on down front, or if they have their offerings for Haiti from Sunday school, they can bring them at this time. Isn't this marvelous? Whoa! Whoa! Anybody say amen? Wow! Wow! Thank you. My goodness. Wow! Thank you very much. Heaven, help me. Wow! Did you collect this at home or school? Different places? Wow! Look. Yeah. Isn't that marvelous? I think we should give them. As I like to say, yay God, right? And every week for the next few weeks, if you have that, any monies from that, just bring them up and we'll do the same thing, okay? Anybody know what this is? A cross. Who does it stand for? Jesus. All right. Who wants to hold the cross? Okay, I'm going to give it right here. There you go. All right. What is this thing? It's a statue. It looks like a mummy. It's not a mummy. It kind of looks like a pharaoh, doesn't it? No, actually it's a lady. She's one of the Greek goddesses. You may not have ever heard of her. Her name is Artemis. Sometimes she's known as Diana. Right? But Artemis. See Artemis? She was one of the Greek goddesses. She was the goddess of the hunt. And she was they considered her the goddess of life. And kind of of hope. And they had a big temple to her in Ephesus, a city in Turkey. It's called Ephesus. Still there today, part of the city. And a lot of its ruins, there's been different parts. But they had a big temple to Ephesus, to Artemis there. And this is just a little statue. The one that was inside her temple, 60 feet tall. Twice as tall as our sanctuary, or more. Made of gold and bronze and all kinds of things. This big thing. This is back in the days like of Jesus. In Israel, people believed in the Lord God, and then when Jesus came, they believed in Jesus, right? But some of the other places in the world, they had other gods and goddesses. The Greeks and the Romans had lots of different gods and goddesses. And Artemis was one of them. And the Apostle Paul, have you ever heard of Paul? He was a missionary for Jesus. He went to Ephesus and he started preaching about Jesus. And that's where that great temple was. What's her name? Artemis. And it was one of the 7 wonders of the world. You ever hear of the 7 wonders of the ancient world? That was one of them. More people went there than went to the pyramids or any other place. It was one of the greatest attractions in all the world, this great temple. And so Paul started preaching about Jesus there. And some of the people believed in Jesus. But do you think they all did? No, because they believed in Artemis, who was really not a goddess at all. It was just something they made up. But they said, well, we worship her. There were some guys there who made these little statues. Some like this, some of bronze or silver, and they made them. And so they sold them in their little shops. If you went downtown to their local Rite Aid, you go in and you buy some Artemis statues. And you put them in your shelf at home. You say, hey, there's Artemis, yay. And so they sold lots of them. You go to the apothecary, hey, there you go. Got some statues. And so they had a real good business selling these little statues. But when Paul started preaching about Jesus, what do you think happened to their business selling statues? Did it go up or down? It went down. People started believing in Jesus, and they'd go into Rite Aid or the apothecary, and they'd just walk right past those, and instead they'd buy a cross. There was starting to be a clash. You either choose the cross, the way of Jesus, or the way of Artemis, and be against Jesus. So that was happening in Ephesus. So what we're going to do today is we're going to recreate what happened. Who wants to hold Artemis? Melinda. I saw your hand shoot right up there. A big crowd gathers. This is the big crowd. And they're upset because business is not doing so well. And they start yelling, "Great is Artemis of the Ephesians." Okay? We're going to see if they can yell that pretty loud. Can you yell, "Great is Artemis"? Yeah, hold her ears. Yeah. "Great is Artemis of the Ephesians." Great is Artemis of the Ephesians. Oh, that scared me so much I almost fell over. Do you think they can yell louder than that? That was like, "Great is Artemis of the Ephesians." You want to go, "Great is Artemis of the Ephesians." Okay? Can you do that? 1, 2, 3.
Great is Artemis of the Ephesians.
And at the same time they're doing that, you're going to yell, "Jesus is Lord." Okay? Can you yell, "Jesus is Lord"? 1, 2, 3.
Jesus is Lord.
No, that way. Can you do a little louder?
Yeah.
Stand up. Choir is, they're watching. It's a big crowd of the Ephesians against a little group of Christians. We got to keep it that way. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Jesus is Lord. 1, 2, 3.
Jesus is Lord.
On the count of 3, and then you just keep repeating it. You're going to say, "Great is Artemis of the Ephesians," and you're going to yell, "Jesus is Lord." Jesus is Lord. Okay? I should have warned you about this. Okay? 1, 2, 3.
Jesus
Boy, did they outshout you. Okay, you guys can sit down. It wasn't supposed to work that way because in the story of the Bible, the Ephesians kind of get their way and they kind of run Paul out of town eventually. But he's there for a couple of years before that happens, before sales have dropped. But eventually, the Christians won out, didn't they? And the cross, hold the cross. The cross became victorious. And if you go to Ephesus today, the only thing that is left of that great wonder of the world is one pillar that's cracked and it's fallen over. In fact, they even had to put it up. It stands about this tall and it's in a swamp. The magnificent structure that was several cities blocks large is completely gone. All that's left is that one broken little column, one broken little pillar. But the Church of Jesus Christ is alive there. Isn't that marvelous? So we have the story of Artemis versus the cross, and the cross is triumphant. Thanks be to God. So there we have little Artemis, who is going to be put on the shelf for another year. And the cross will be raised up high. Let's bow our heads for prayer. Lord, thank you for the wonderful stories from the Bible. Thank you for the lessons of Artemis and Jesus and the truth of Jesus. And each of us in our own lives has to make a choice for Jesus or not for Jesus. Help us to choose for him, and may he live in our hearts always.